Welcome back to the most professional StarCraft 2 with the most entertaining Terran player out there. In the red, the Admiral. It's GuMiho. Facing off against Cyril's stunt double, the Rocky Zerg in the blue. We have Solar. In a best of 5, Terran versus Zerg showdown between two players who are more than willing to drag the game out and beat you with stamina and experience. So before you settle into full screen mode, it'd be awesome if you could smash that like button. Maybe even subscribe. Help me kind of the algorithm. And Jimmy, what are we at? 1,614 likes on this video, on this cast. And I'll cast another one. And I'll probably do it anyways because I don't know what else I'd do with my life. But thank you for watching. Hopefully, you've had a good day so far. And hopefully it's about to get just a little bit better than these first Zerglings and drones as the Reaper comes in, plays Ring Around the Hatchery in order to keep the Zerg on their many weird toes. And, well, Solar already snuck out a drone to the third base. Here on Persephone, easy enough to establish that third without the Terran being able to shut it down. It's created some of our most interesting games so far, especially considering it's our only map on the, even on the community map pool, with a healing shrine. We'll see if it comes into play later on. The healing shrine like halfway across the map, well off the beaten path. But as time goes on, more and more opportunities open up. And speaking of, 3 command centers from GuMiho. He's got a barracks, a factory, a starport, a 1-1-1 starter that unlocks the whole tech tree for Terran early on. A Destiny Cloudfist build I heard in a fever dream. But when it comes to unlocking the whole tech tree, that is the most accurate for GuMiho. Other Terrans feel like they're playing like build order simulator. Whereas GuMiho, one of the few, especially Terran players, who feels like he's playing a strategy game. If anyone's going to take us to McDonald's, it's going to be GuMiho. If anyone's going to show us how to cruise into battle, it's going to be GuMiho. And if anyone's going to make an inordinate amount of Marines and Marauders and have a conscientious objection to the idea of building ghosts, gonna be GuMiho. So, starting things off with a Viking and then Cloak on the way. The Queen's trying to come down, dodges the Reaper Hellion into the Extractor. The Queen's keeping things at bay. Quick Brenda bounce over to the side. The Viking about to pop out, and he will spot the Cloak. But is it a fake? Overlord's taken down. We'll send a message back home about the Cloak. Whoa! I don't need to... And then GuMiho cancels it, because sometimes the best cloak is no cloak at all. Well, not really. But the idea of cloak forces spore crawlers, forces defense. Zerg is pretty limited when it comes to anti-air defense early on. You got queens, you got spore crawlers, you end of list. Okay, asterisk, footnote, technically corrosive bile. But let's be honest with ourselves here. Another Overlord getting targeted. But the Queens will politely yet firmly ask the Viking to leave, which has always worked with Queens versus Vikings in the past. Baneling Nest already on the way. Double NG Bay as GuMiho will be opting for the bio to start things off. Not too surprising. He's actually one of the best. When he sets his mind to it, it's a bit odd. Sometimes it's embarrassing. But sometimes GuMiho looks like an absolute genius. And that's why he's so incredibly fun to watch, but somewhat inconsistent. Willing to try new things and new styles of playing with even the same units everybody else is building. I think part of this is born out of the fact that he's the Towel Terran. Okay, he has a condition called hyperhidrosis, which literally means he's the sweatiest Terran player in the world. He plays with his hand, well, originally in literally just like a towel, but he has like a sort of absorbent mitt or something. He plays with his hand in an oven mitt. Yes. Somehow still managing to be pretty close to the APM of your top players and winning GSL. But I feel like his technical restrictions have inspired a lot more strategic and original strategies that, like, he's not gonna have the multitasking of Clem. But the point is he doesn't necessarily need it, because you can always work smarter and not harder. So, we'll see if that's borne out as time goes on. Solar is willing to do both. Very much so. Solar's truly the Rocky Zerg with how much he gets bullied around the map and still somehow survives to the later rounds of the games. But an armory is on the way. Looks like GuMiho. Well, not necessarily a Hellbat push, but Hellbat's kind of sprinkled in for extra spicy flavor. Viking chasing down an Overseer. GuMiho just sending out whatever he has here. 1-1's nearly done. He could deny the alternative 4th base. And indeed, he's already in position the moment it starts. The Queen's getting chased down. The Banshee added in for some extra defense. And, well, GuMiho nails the timing to deny the base. But Solar does have the top right corner as well. Where's he going with? Is he going to do an elevator push into the main? Yeah, I guess that's easier than going to the other side. Thinking about more. Spore Crawler doing a lot of... Oh, no, no, no. Ooh, well, that did not go great. The amphibious landing here starting to be swept away. The Spore Crawler moving closer. The Queens, really the limited anti-air so far. GuMiho, a bit of a tough position, but the Queen's getting gunned down one by one. And on the low ground, he's jammed himself into Hellbats. Get down, Siege Tanks. Banshees take it out, but look at that tank positioning. Just absolutely devastating. Eventually, Solar will be able to drive this back, but we have to ask ourselves that eternal caster question. Have you liked and subscribed? And also, at what cost? And another wave is sent in. Solar has now finished his 1-1 upgrades. 72 to 64 workers. GuMiho actually kind of stopped production in general. He's got the Octo Rax timing, so that explains why he's able to put a dozen Marines at a time on the field. Splitting his forces left and right down the center. Solar trying to split the difference. The creep spread is minimal at best. The speed zones will help accelerate the attack forward, but he has to be careful against those speed banes, which will... Oh, wow. Oh, no, GuMiho's not looking! And the Marines will pay the price. Only a few survivors, but a successful attack to the left flank. He takes out the hatchery again. Very notably, GuMiho still doesn't have a 4th base himself. So... Another drop, another tank push as GuMiho looks at this multi-level marketing, multi-level attack strategy. And the Marines! Why did we look? Okay. Well, most of the Marines were able to slurp up, but I was about to be traumatized, so obviously we had to take another look. But another hatchery attempted, and where can Solar expand? GuMiho's exerting so much pressure right now that Solar might be about to burst. It is... The tanks, that single tank. How is this allowed? Why can they fly, but we can't, Brenda? No, don't break, Susan, don't break that up. Now is not the time. The tank finally taken out, but GuMiho maintaining this supply lead, maintaining the map control. It is a little telling that there are 4 medevacs, a siege tank, and exactly 0 Marines over to the right side. But it's not about how many men you lose. It's about how many you can replace them with. And the Red Army will keep sending more Marines across the map. GuMiho maintains a 20 supply lead, but Solar has survived for now. He's got an Ultralisk Cavern on the way. 2-2 upgrades about to complete. GuMiho only on 2-1, working on 3-2, but it just started out. Adrenal Glands has begun as well. Somehow Solar has survived to Hive Tech, and he's got money in the bank. Potentially for Ultras. Is that because he has no larva because he lost all his queens? You know, there are 2 ways of looking at everything here. Opportunity and cost. And right now, Solar has an opportunity to make Ultras look incredible. And he's done so several times over, including against Clem over the last few weeks. Has another opportunity here because he is up against this timing attack. There are no Marauders even, just a few tanks. No ghosts anywhere close. Wow, GuMiho stimming up. If he actually takes out the 4th base, that's a heavy hit on the economy. The siege tank taking big bites, picks up, and there's nothing to contest in the air. That one siege tank. GuMiho with another devastating position, jamming siege tanks into every possible location that they're most annoying to dislodge. There are Vipers in production, a Venn diagram of liberation, Venn diagram of freedom in the main, but the creep spread has been reduced. The Banelings are trying to close in, but GuMiho taking huge bites out of the Banes. Here come the Ultras and Lings as well. The Ultras should be able to tank the tank hits. The Banelings are rolling through, and GuMiho, even against the Paperlisks, not going to have enough. And Solar may have turned the tides for now. Well, still retreating to the back corner. That siege tank got so many kills. The Liberators do, oh my, this Liberator, 6 kills. The Queens, the entire Queens moot back here, trying to jam themselves into the corner behind the Ultralisk Cavern, and GuMiho going to split off. The drops over to the right flank, gets back into the medevac besides a couple unlucky Marines. Chitinous plating is completed, but no Ultralisk speed. Cute. Okay, well, there we go. Solar realizing it immediately. Another base is going to be hit. More Marines sent across the map over to the left side. And just Marines and medevacs. The hatchery falls yet again. Solar has survived for now. He has the Ultra count building up. The Marines are being eviscerated by the massive Ultralisk claws. And even more on the high ground. He's going to have to pick up. The Queens will evict them for now. And GuMiho has managed to get a 4th command center. He's barely built any more SCVs throughout this. Solar pulled off a counterattack. But GuMiho is all over the place all the time. Infestors on the way. The Ultralisk count at 4. With 1 more in production. More drones taken down. Solar's down to 62 of them. Banelings targeted. But at some point, is this another game where GuMiho... Oh, parasitic bomb! Down goes the medevac with all but 1 survivor. Easily chopped up. Is this another one of those games where GuMiho says, I know my limits, and I have morals, so therefore, the Ghost Academy is something that I have unhotkeyed. No Ghost Academy on the way. GuMiho's going for Drilling Claws Mines. That is a very active choice. He could have gone Ghost. He has 4 tech labs. He's building 4 Marauders at a time. But Gumi Bro says, Gumi, no. You GuMiho. I won't stoop to this Gumi low. It's time for our strategies to Gumi grow. Widow Mines are the late game choice. He has the Healing Shrine access. The Vipers overhead. Infestors have joined the Ultralisks. But GuMiho still has 2,000 minerals in the bank. That's a lot of Marines and Marauders he can lose. Meanwhile, fighting on the highway to hell over to the right side. It's Ultras on the high ground, though, which is not exactly what you want off the end of the exit ramp. Overlord speed. Solar has been pushed back all the way to the northern corner of the map. He has been unable to expand at all. And every single base from here on out expands towards GuMiho. And GuMiho clearly, he accepts it. The Ghost Academy is on the way. The amount that Solar had to build to force the Ghost Academy, but against Infestors and Vipers and Ultras, well, the more conventional Terrans, we'll see how they do. Parasitic Bomb doing a lot of damage. Blinding Cloud wiping out the effectiveness of the tanks, and this army is swept from the field. And GuMiho is going to be forced into the Gumi Ghosts. The Queens! Oh, the entire monarchy. The entire royal line in the main base. Wow, more Ultras cleaving the bio in twain. GuMiho's momentum has been stalled entirely. He requires that more advanced tech. Those more special operatives. Liberators, Marauders, and Widow Mines in production. Ghost Cloaking as well. As Solar has managed to finally, after all this time, establish a 5th base. It has been a titanic effort, but he hasn't been sunk yet. In fact, this set of... Wow, I didn't even realize there's a couple mineral walls. Neither player really exploiting that, but the Ultras at the back takes down the Spore. And we'll be able to pick up and get out. Solar's been mining so long, that top right corner is almost mined out. GuMiho adding more command centers. 5 Ghosts in production. If he's going to do something, he's going to do it right. Meanwhile, the Banelings picks up just in time. GuMiho pre-spreading back at home. 3-3 now, finally done for Solar. 3-3 infantry weapons and armor has been completed for quite a while for GuMiho. That is, he has 21 Marauders. There are 6 Ultras on the field. Some Hydras finally mixed in. 11 Queens. Solar was not stingy about building them. Wow. After so many rounds of Marines and Marauders and Medivacs battling back and forth against the Ultras, Lings, and Banes, both players calling something of a truce as the late game is in full swing. A nuclear missile in production for GuMiho. Hydra lunge for Solar. The Vipers overhead. Abandons the third base. That one tank on the high ground, very helpful. GuMiho with the Ghost, ready to line up some shots. EMP could also be incredibly valuable. Meanwhile, a Bioforce on the other side gets chewed up. Parasitic Bomb, Fungal Wombo combo. The Medivacs getting wiped out of the sky. Down to just 1 or 2 of them. Going to be replaced. Few snipes come out. GuMiho will hold. But a costly endeavor. The army chased down. Well, overall, Solar actually gets the better end. He takes out 5 Medivacs, a dozen Marauders, a whole bunch of Marines. Now, a Viper, a couple Ultras, and 2 Infestors are taken down. So some high priority targets. A Fusion Core for GuMiho. But Solar's not going to give him the opportunity. It's in a precarious location. And where are the Vipers? Where are the Spellcasters to follow it up? It's just the Ultras out the front. A beautiful spread. I can't believe it's not butter. GuMiho mitigates the Ultra damage with ease. And without Infestors and Vipers... Oh no, the Viper, you're too late! No! Not exactly the ideal Viper timing there. It was sent out, but I think it may have been shift queued up and obviously a little late. So GuMiho takes a easy fight, and he manages to take out 4 more Ultras and a Viper on top. And Solar has taken the gold base at the 3 o'clock position. He's regained a lot of momentum. The Rocky Zerg has survived and now is ready to strike back. As GuMiho struggling in supply. He's not maxed out. Not that Solar has a bunch of money in the bank, but he's not maxed out. And he's working on advanced ballistics. Still has a lot overhead. We're fighting on the speed zone like these armies weren't even fast enough. There's going to be creep through the speed zone as well over to the right flank. That medevac count is so damn high. Not that many Banelings. This is a questionable fight out of Solar. And he's starting to question it, but a bit late. As GuMiho goes forward again, there's only 1 Ultralist remaining. A Lurker down is halfway done. But otherwise, the splash damage is almost non-existent. Maybe a Fungal? No, no energy, just the Ultra. Can't be, the Hydra Lunge is optimistic at best, and GuMiho just grinding through and tearing up everything in front of it. The Vipers are coming down. Parasitic Bomb, Blinding Cloud usage. Good choice there. Parasitic Bomb on some of the Medivacs. 2 sets, tries to quarantine, mostly successful. The Bio Army brawling it out, and with no Zerglings in front, GuMiho has retained the momentum. Solar off the back of those Spellcasters was able to turn things around, but GuMiho 156 to 140 supply, and without Lurkers, there's no sort of ace in the hole here. There's no more cards to play. Solar's hand is empty, and the production tab is looking lackluster as well. The Medivacs are badly bruised, and many of them were taken out, but the Bio Army on the field should be more than enough to carry this all the way through. Solar throws out 3 Gs, and GuMiho powers through to a victory in game number 1. He accepts the need for ghosts, but he doesn't lean too hard on them. He accepts the utility of Liberators, but they don't become the key part of his composition. It's all about positioning and timing, and they worked out perfectly. GuMiho with a solid performance in game number 1, giving him the lead as we start things off. And of course, we went to the ultra, puns intended, late game. And I wouldn't be surprised if almost every game of this series ends up there. But we're going into game 2 on Whispers of gold. The YouTube comment section. In the bottom right, the Admiral, GuMiho, showing his command over not just the mech army, but the bio as well. And, of course, in the top left, it's Solar. And this match is from Rex's April Madness. The tournament starting as March Madness and carrying through. So, if you haven't yet checked out his channel, it is the Taiwanese pro player, but it'd be awesome if you could give him a subscribe on the YouTubes. Jimmy has linked it in the description and in the comments. Jimmy, yes? Check your email. Sorry. But awesome to see how many community members stepping up and putting on these tournaments live, and then allowing us to watch all the highlight games as well. So hopefully you enjoy. And make sure to support if you got the opportunity. Rex, by the way, also one of the most creative Zerg players out there. Like, he's like Dark with a little less mechanical skill and even less caring about winning. Which sometimes, like, I've never seen he successfully 2-base Hydra rushed with no upgrades and beat Clem. Like, what is this? What are these things? These sort of strategies. Like being a cheesy Protoss, except you spawn as Zerg, is how Rex plays. And I mean that in the best possible way, just to be clear. Alright. These two. A good taste in game one. We're getting into the main course. GuMiho made so much out of that single tank push. And a tank in the right spot is worth 4 tanks in random ones. GuMiho's so incredibly aware of that. There's no easy way to dislodge it, especially if you don't go Roach Ravager, which has its own weaknesses. Like having roaches and ravagers, which are easily microed against. But if they just find that corner, and that's why map design can be difficult, because there are so many little nooks and crannies that are about 1 siege tank wide, for example. Well, the Reaper, wow, 2 Spore Crawlers forced. As the Reaper ends up with no kills, but the emotional damage is crippling. Third hatchery was snuck out. Third command center is on the way. Very sneaky. This is a message from the Hatchery Owners Association. Okay? This annoyance is punishable by death. Or even worse, expulsion. Susan, is that a reference? No. 18 Zerglings on the way. You do not make 18 Zerglings for fun. Well, I guess yes, for fun. But this is very clearly a surreptitious move here for Solar, who's trying to sneak those lings out before the Hellions come across. A good old-fashioned Zerg rush. Hellions are going to be on the other side of the map. So many Terrans, including GuMiho, get greedy here and send the Reaper Hellion right in. Which means there is very much an opportunity. GuMiho! Panic time! The Marines are caught on the outside. He might be able to sneak it. Bring in a few more to take down the Hellions. He sneaks the Marines back inside. Solar will play it safe and just kill the SCVs on the low ground. And he does have to get some damage done in order to justify this, but I feel like it's already done more than enough. I like holding back some of the Zerglings when you already know you're going to get the damage in an attempt to trap the Hellions on the way back home. More Zerglings streaming across. Tries to get the wraparound run slightly faster. Almost gets the grab. There goes the Reaper. Hellions doing a lot of damage, but eventually will be taken out and ripped apart. Oh my. Well, right? Yes? Oh my. Okay. He's dead now. Yes. Wow, that one Hellion leading him on quite the chase, but GuMiho, well, seems like he's now a permanent resident of Troubletown and has taken severe damage. He lost all of his Hellions. He lost 10 SCVs. What did he gain? Knowledge of why we usually keep a couple Hellions at home instead of sending them across so greedily. And also an opportunity to prove how he plays from this sort of underdog position. But down 20 workers without any sort of real tech. Does he have stim done? Yes. His production has been kind of hamstrung. Only 2 barracks, reactor factory, trying to put together some sort of early push so Solar doesn't run away with it economically. And there is an opportunity here. There's only 11 Zerglings alongside 7 Queens. And Solar isn't building any lings. He's not expecting a real counterattack here. And these lings, or this drop is not huge. But, medevac gonna be targeted. The Queens, plenty of energy, takes down 1. That was just Karen. It's gonna be a lot quieter without it. Now, don't say that out loud. Sorry. You can think it loudly. We're all thinking it. But, okay. 1-1's on the way. Delaying the 4th base is something. Killing off Queens is more. Actually, it depends on the delay and how many Queens you kill off, but moving on. Getting the upgrade slightly quicker certainly doesn't hurt. Double drop added in, another Queen taken down. Make that 3, and still stutter stepping forward. Beautifully done, GuMiho. Slurps up the Marines, and the Queen count is cut down to 3. And back in the main base, using that elevator strat yet again, but not sure this fight. Yeah, bit of a messy fight there. Losing a few extra Marines, but GuMiho trying to keep the pressure on. The Hellions are back! Gonna incinerate 4 drones to start. Solar lining them up. He's just gonna take the easy pickings here. Getting char-broiled, if you would. And GuMiho doing a lot to drag himself back into a decent position. 62 to 57 workers for Solar. But the key part is he already had 4 bases done. And a lot of that economy bounces back quickly. But this is good damage from GuMiho, make no mistake. Darting in, gonna get a few more drones. And might lose a medevac to that bold Queen. Not quite. The creep spread has been stalled somewhat as well. So overall, GuMiho really doing everything he can to drag himself back into this. The momentum is still in Solar's favor, but it has hit a whole lot of speed bumps to the point it slowed down and GuMiho's within grasping distance. The hive, what Solar is invested in though is a hive. That is the largest and most potential payoff. Getting the hive, the highest tech, Vipers are almost certainly going to be the choice. Can just break the Terran outright. He's got roaches. He's going to have, I assume, at least 3 to 6 Ravagers in order to pop those siege tanks. And then plenty of Lings and Banes. An Ultraless cat, he loves his Ultras. He loves those Ultras. And I love him for it. In fact, we made a map for it called Ultra Love, which we may see. I'm not sure. Solar, very willing to use them as effective meat shields. Oh, but here comes GuMiho. The Hellbats as well. The Ultra's Cavern is halfway done. The Vipers are only now gathering energy, and GuMiho yet again finding a strong opportunity to get damage done. Splits against the Corrosive Bowels. The Siege Tanks getting dangerously close already. Baneling speed still 30 seconds out. Another wave of Biles come in, but come up empty. Those Banelings getting chipped away. The Vipers aren't ready yet. More Ravagers trying, but these scattered Biles are not enough. And GuMiho with the pre-spread as well. The hatchery will be taken down. Solar has the alternative 4th to the north. Chitinous plating is on the way, but he's pushed back up against the ropes yet again by GuMiho's well-timed Terran tactics. But the Vipers. Where are the Vipers? When the 4th base fell, where were the Vipers? When the Queens were taken down, where were the Vipers? When the tanks pushed again, where were the Vipers? On the front lines, blinding cloud on the tanks, on the Marines. He can't see anything, but he's gonna see his units in the units lost tab. It wasn't enough to break through. There wasn't enough on the ground. They might not be able to see, but at point-blank range, they can still shoot that Viper overhead. Corrosive Bow's actually landing on some of the Marines. Blinding Cloud yet again, but it works both ways. The Zerg unit's also affected by it. 3 Ultras in production about to pop out. GuMiho continues rallying across the map. He has 2-2 nearly completed. Will have an upgrade advantage for 30 seconds, but chitinous plating is nearly done. Fusion core is on the way, but I dare not dream. GuMiho yet again splitting his forces, trying to find an opportunity, but the reinforcements back at home. Will he have the time to put together an ultraless defense? They will pop out. Once again, Solar's economy so heavily limited. Parasitic Bomb quarantines 1 medevac. It won't kill it outright, and they don't stack. If there were more of them, they wouldn't. Well, only just the one for now. A single Ultra, but that can be dealt with even with chitinous plating. He has the Marauders. They punch hard enough. Drops over to the right flank. And Solar's in a difficult position yet again. But GuMiho does not have Ghosts, and he doesn't have any Liberators yet. He's finished with the Fusion Core targeting. The hatchery takes it down, no cancel. Not a huge deal, but not a small one. We'll call it medium size. Meanwhile, the Marines right through the blades of the Ultra. Quarantines a medevac will be taken out. They'll expect some of us in the... Actually, no, come on in. I don't know. Trying to save the tank. Looks like he will do so just in time, and GuMiho trying to take a 4th. Planetary Fortress is in production. He needs to repair that thing. A Widow Mine left behind. Does he have drilling? Yes. Drilling Claws, Solar. Consolidating his forces. Adrenal Glands is nearly complete. 3-3 is on the way for both sides. GuMiho, about a minute advantage, but it's still over a minute out. A credit to GuMiho for surviving this long and putting himself in a position where he could turn it around, but he still has quite an uphill battle. And on the top of the hill, there are Ultralisks. Zerglings in the 3rd base, microing on 2 fronts, almost impossible with these unit compositions. He picks up the drop over to the top right. He finishes Overlord speed, but he's going to lose the hatchery. And Solar comes back with his units to defend. GuMiho splits off another force towards the main base. But the main brunt of the Ultras coming down the center. And does GuMiho have anything to defend? Parasitic Bomb doing even more damage to the medevacs. The drops in the main still finding damage, but the Ultras have come back. Takes out 1. The double drop to the top right still. And drops down towards the center. More base drops than a Skrillex album right now, but I fear it won't be enough to turn around the momentum Solar has gained with these Ultralisks. He's bought a lot of time. The Ultras have had to scramble left, right, and center. But he still has 5 Ultralisks to contend with. GuMiho is barely mining off 1.5 or so bases. The main base is at the halfway mark. The Naturals also mining out. He's relanded his 3rd base. Solar maintains the largest economic lead he's had throughout the game. 80 drones to 70 SCVs. GuMiho will be able to max out one more time. But Solar's banking money. And I think right now he's just waiting for 3-3 to be done to get aggressive again. Drop down the center. Ultras. Kind of left out on their own. Widowmine gonna help out. Pops 1 Ultra, but a Viper's coming in. Another Ultra taken down. Parasitic Bomb. Damage being spread all over the medevacs. Only takes a couple to take him down eventually. Another Parabomb. No, not quite. Not quite enough energy yet. Oh, wait, there it is. Oh, no! With everyone inside! Oh, no, GuMiho! Oh, Gumi, no. The Ultras on either side, but the Bayou army drives back those in pursuit. Over to the top right corner, and GuMiho ain't done yet. 5 more Ultras in production. +3 melee attack is completed. A shotgun blast to Corrosive Bow comes up completely empty. The Terran armies combine, and GuMiho marches back across the map. 3 Ultras facing a planetary, but the SCVs are repairing through. More Ultras in production. Blinding Cloud across the board, running into the Banelings. But the Widow Mines Widowmine's still an existential threat to everything smaller than an Ultra, so everything but Ultras in your mother. Meanwhile, the hatchery to the north side will be targeted by the Marauders. 5 more Ultras popping out of the eggs. 1 taken down. Another one could be targeted. GuMiho maintained his economy back at home, but his army supply still strong. He's competing with Solar despite Solar's economy. There's not a single ghost, not a single liberator, but a whole bunch of bio as he drives forward yet again. And GuMiho survives. I don't know how. The Vipers are still racking up the damage and the energy. He's forced to use so much. Parasitic Bomb again, but a Quadra drop over to the 9 o'clock position. The drone's exposed. He will take them down. But all of his medevacs. He did get Caduceus Reactor. He did get Advanced Ballistics. Are the Vipers nearby? But all of this has felt like a delaying action. But for what? And GuMiho's trying to figure that out. Why are there drones here? How many Ultras? 7 Ultras. 2 Infestors on the field. It feels like GuMiho's running out of options. He's running out of real estate. And now he has very little to run to. Fungal holds him down. The Ultras trying to knock him out, but that sheer DPS of the bio, another Fungal targets one of the Infestors, but the Ultra's just cleaving through. GG! Solar claims game number 2. What a brawl. GuMiho going down 20 workers and trying to battle his way back. But in the end, it wasn't enough. Solar also quite a display. Barely able to hold on against that incredibly timed pressure from GuMiho. But he doesn't give up easily. These two, so evenly matched. Such a similar sort of style, especially when GuMiho plays bio. Not a single Ghost Academy this time around. He just didn't have the space for it. We're all tied up, though. Going into Arrowhome for game number 3. Just chill. Another one of our community maps. A map we've seen some half map scenarios that surprisingly common for how short the rush distance. But I think the key is expanding away from your opponents. Like Persephone, no matter what, you end up expanding towards your opponent as the game goes on. Kind of forces more and more conflict. But when the outlying bases are in the corners, sometimes you get in this scenario where it's just so far from your army to their army that neither player wants to risk a base trade. So you kind of stall out at that time. GuMiho. A new, fresh build. The 2 racks. I'm gonna assume Reapers. Everyone else I'd assume Reapers. And I still assume Reapers here, but we'll see, yeah. We'll see how many he ends up with. Just the Reapers or continues the aggression. I don't see this map as a great Reaper map. Any map where you have a ramp to the natural is just kind of meh when it comes to... Well, also... Well, okay. Jimmy, edit that out. That sounded terrible. Any map where you have a ramp up to the natural is a map where... Okay. Gather your thoughts. Both players are able to defend relatively easily. So even though the Reapers are going to struggle a bit, any sort of big counterattack, like a Roach All-In is the most common, is also going to struggle. So it's relatively safe. Also, he's on the right side of the map for his add-ons, which is the right side, because those add-ons always must be placed in the same location, much to Terran's dismay. Now, that is something that factors into very specific builds, not so much nowadays, but the same is true Like how the queen and the larva always spawn to the south of the hatchery. We're going to use cardinal directions because it feels right. And this is actually pretty relevant in ZVZ. If you're going to do a big Zergling all-in and you want to catch units as they come out of the eggs, it's much better if your opponent is on the side of the map where the hatchery faces away from the mineral lines. They can't use drones to defend. But not like we ever see ZVZ because nobody watches mirror matchups that don't have Cyril in them. So, the Reapers are complete and more Reapers on the way. But the Queens, driving them back for now. He killed off one Zergling so far, continuing the mass Reaper pressure. 2 command centers behind, of course. Solar managed to get his 3rd hatchery. Pretty confident he can defend against this. The Reapers, they could delay. Zergling speed's about to complete. There's a whole bunch, well, not a whole bunch of Zerglings, but enough. Oh. The Zergling speed is done. Grenades, good. Brenda bounce. Reapers getting caught. And loses 1. Make that 2. And Solar. Heated conversation here. Honestly, not sure. That feels like a sort of emoji. But GuMiho responds in kind. So I don't think either player got what they wanted there, is what happened. GuMiho didn't really get many kills. He ended up losing a Reaper and not delaying the 3rd. But Solar committed to a lot of Zerglings and only killed 1 Reaper in total. So that's obviously not ideal either. So, also, pretty much all the Korean players have played each other literally hundreds of times. In the last, like GuMiho and Solar have had careers over a decade long. So, either you're pretty friendly or you're very much not at this point, I think. But they've known each other probably more than, well, some weird, like, maybe their own parents. That doesn't make any sense. I don't. But spending most of their lives playing against each other. Adult lives, at least. Well, for many of these players, a little bit before and after. There, Roach Warren. Double NG Bay, Gumi Bro, once again. Looking for the bio build. And I'd say, even in game 2 where he lost, if he had been in a 10% better position before the original pressure, that easily could have broken Solar. He still looks so dangerous, despite his economic position. If anyone was going to make Hellbats look good... Wait, what? Why is that an armory? Thor? No. He's... Yeah? No. No. That doesn't make any sense. He doesn't. Why would you build an armory, though? Yeah, sure, there's this medevac push going on, but... The Zergling's breaking through into the buildings. He builds a siege tank. He's got to build a Thor now. I'm going to be so disappointed. I'm so confused about having the armory that early. Was that a misclick? No. It's not a huge investment. All right. You can just get an armory if you have the money. It's not... It's 150-50. So. I'll be very disappointed if he doesn't build a Thor, though. I will say that. On the record. Building siege tanks like a normie. Just kind of have it. I mean, why not have it? But my disappointment is immeasurable, and my day is ruined. I really thought he was going to do like a Thor drop or something. Because it is GuMiho, so. You know what? He's just making sure he's got those upgrades. Or he decided against it when he saw this was mass roaches. Which you clearly want siege tanks against. A second factory, so maybe a bit less of a full bio build and a more bio-curious one. I'm getting... Okay, I'm reheating here. Medevac's doing their thing and keeping the roaches busy. I mean, a good economy for Solar. He's got 72 drones working on the 4th base. Mainling nest on the way. Has not yet started any upgrades from the armory, but he is getting the 2nd factory. I think that's prompted by the Roach Ravagers. As, you do want as many siege tanks as possible to deal with the critical mass of Roach Ravager. Hive is on the way. I'm staring at it. The Vipers are so fast. Wow, and a triple tier drop here on the Reaper Cliff. Well, none of this really working exactly how GuMiho might have wanted. Bit of a false start. Gonna try dropping for like the 4th time. He's fighting out. Wow. It's raining men. Unfortunately, they hit the ground and immediately die, so... As you might expect in that literal scenario. I'm so disappointed, GuMiho. Not even a mech weapons upgrade, just double factory tank. Ultraless Cavern is... Are those tanks stuck? Or does he just... Are those house tanks? There's no way... Are they stuck? What? They're stuck... How? It looks... GuMiho's trying to figure it out. And he's like, what the hell? He's staring at it. This is quite a conundrum. He's gonna have to move his barracks or something. They're all stuck! Help me, step tanks! No, you can't get out. Why? I don't understand. He's just gonna pick up all the tanks, which is one solution. It's not the most elegant one. What? Well, the tanks are here now. Solar's maxed out, but that was quite an architectural delay. Okay, well, the Vipers are already out. Blinding Cloud should be very much available. Siege tanks in position. And the Banelings are getting taken out before they can get even close. Finally, the Blinding Clouds come through, but the Siege tanks did great work beforehand. Another set of Blinding Clouds. The tanks, he missed with most of the Corrosive Bile. Despite the delay, GuMiho survives with most of his tanks. The Roaches and Ravagers were unable to close the distance. The Ultraless are in production, but they have yet to be delivered. Chitinous plating isn't done either, and GuMiho is just tearing apart everything right now. More Corrosive Bile, but the tank count, you know? Maybe with some extra inspiration. The Ultras are gonna have to save the day, but Liberators overhead. The 2-2 upgrades aren't even done. GuMiho had an upgrade advantage throughout most of this. The Corrosive Bile's not taking out the Liberators. The Queen's trying to do so, playing ring around the Liberation zones. And GuMiho has the supply lead. Forced to go through all this, finally takes down one of the Liberators. Kiting back, Chitinous plating still not done. The Paperless just being shredded right now. Finally, the Liberators die. And GuMiho may be driven back for now. He doesn't have a 4th base. Solar at 67 drones, but he does have 5 hatcheries to work with. Medevac's nearly entirely out of energy, but still have decent HP. Did the Vipers? No, both Vipers went down in the fray. More Corrosive Bile. The Medevac's almost becoming... Oh, he's stuck again! Oh, my. Oh, one of us. One of us. Another Ultra taken down. Couple Banelings. GuMiho up 30 supply, though, against a Zerg player without much of an economic lead, if any at all. Parts the Red Sea. A fumble! But the Infestor, not enough. And that GuMiho is starting to be ground down. The Medevacs have been out of energy for a while, and some of them out of HP. If only those... The tank is still stuck! Not that he's bothering with it much anymore. Some Widow Mines on the way. Drilling Claws. Liberators overhead. Venn diagram of freedom continuing. Pincushioning the ultras. The queens aren't going to be enough. GuMiho has enough momentum to carry it through. The tanks stuck till the end of time. GuMiho, despite some domestic struggles, is able to power through and put himself on match point. That is a bit problematic. I have no idea. It definitely looked like those tanks should be able to get out, but, you know, it happens. All right, those tanks need to go on a diet plan before. Not sure exactly how that would work logistically, but game number 4 on Frostline. These two still very evenly matched. Classic. GuMiho just... it's all about momentum with these two. GuMiho able to carry it through, even if he doesn't have the most efficient fight. If he's able to get himself into the right spot, Solar really struck, like, throwing out probably 50 corrosive vials, of which 2 or 3 hit something, which isn't entirely his fault, but he missed the mark on a lot of them during the main fight. And that is costly as time goes on. You don't get a lot of opportunities to break the tank line, at least not with your initial army, and it only gets more costly from there. And I believe both these players have qualified for the new season of GSL, which is happening in the end of May, by the way, and looking forward to that. Maybe a rematch of Solar and GuMiho in the grand finals. Honestly, GuMiho had a tough performance there. It was a bit disappointing because he looked so great throughout the season. He looks great now, but seemed to have a bit of be a bit of a choke artist in the final. Solar kind of rolled over him. I think it was 4-1 where it ended up, but clearly a more even match now. Reverting back to the early Reaper. Command center on the low ground. Ultras. Every single game, Ultras from Solar. He loves the Ultras. They're quite expensive. And they're not necessarily better than Lings and Banes in most situations. Like, the Ultras are, if you don't already have the initiative, it's very hard to, unless you're up against a literal, like, the Octo-Rax build, which GuMiho has done, where it's just Marines and tanks. The Ultras do not turn it around. If they already have Marauders mixed in and a solid tank count, Ultras are not it. Usually Hydras, Lings, and Banes are more effective. But if they are going, like, they're a counter to the mass Marine types. Because the Marines, they might be able to shoot very fast, but they don't hit very hard. And that's where the Ultraless armor really comes into play. Reaper. Whoa. Third command center. I still don't know exactly what that commentary was. It wasn't even like a Korean statement. They clearly both agreed on the Reaper attack being mediocre, but I think both sides felt they got the worst end of it. Maybe there's some drama over Reaper builds nowadays in Korea. Reaper builds going in and out of flavor. One of those you mix in occasionally just to keep the Zerg honest. It can't be going for the gasless 3 base without potentially suffering critical damage. Double bounce. Viking on the way. And the Reaper Hellion yet again. Oh my. Queens ambling down. Sorry, stoically marching down to the... What is this? GuMiho with a knee breaker. He's got concussive... Is that just for the Overlord's benefit? Or is... No, he's building a Marauder. This is a knee breaker build. If anyone's gonna make a hell bad timing work, it's gonna be Gumi, bro. He might not even go armory, just get the Hellions. We'll see. Huh. Guarding in. Solar. Finished up Zergling speed. There's the armory on the way. But this is... well, it's a Hellbat timing. You know my feelings on Hellbat timings, which are... they're not very good. Because they're just straight up countered by Queens. But with the concussive shell Marauders to break the many weird knees of the Zerg and keep the Queen slowed down and kind of add that actual DPS in the back. You use the Viking to drive out the Overlords and make sure this is covered. And now the Marauders to be a much more dramatic threat to the Queens. So I think this has a higher chance of success than the majority of Hellbat timings. But we'll have to see. They hit the creep, the Viking on deck as well, the Marauders with it. Armory's not quite done yet, so no Hellbats. A little bit late, a couple of them gonna be targeted. Spore Crawler on the front lines, the Queen's Moot has gathered the line of Queens on the front line. There's a Spine Crawler ambling over, trying to get in front of everything. Gonna be a little awkward, but... and get off my creep! I would love to say that went better than your average Hellbat timing, but it didn't. That did very poorly. He's gonna lose almost everything. He lost 9 Hellbats. He might even lose the engineering bay here. He lost 9. He lost the medevac. Wait, did he lose the medevac? Yes, there's a new medevac. Lost 9 Hellbats, all the Marauders, all the Marines, the Viking, the medevac. And Solar lost a Queen and some Zerglings. So that did not go well. That was a bit of a disaster for GuMiho. And par for the course for Hellbat timings over like the last 10 years. Actually, yes, 10 years. Legacy of the Void. Back in Heart of the Swarm, which was over 10 years ago. Oh my god. Hellbat timings were significantly... I'm not saying that Hellbats are bad. I'm saying that Hellbat timings are bad. Hellbats in the late game, as a mineral-only sync, can be very good. GuMiho's making 6 barracks right now, so quite a production explosion. What's the plan here? He's gonna try to pick them up, knock them over, put them in the little mineral spot, kill another dozen or so Zerglings, which is certainly something. It's not great. I guess technically a better trade, but... Mass barracks going up to the octo ranks now, but feels like a mad scramble for production as opposed to the natural progression here. One on the way. 6 reactors. All right, well, GuMiho's gonna make a whole bunch of Marines. And a few Marauders. All right, let's not forget them. And round 2 is upon us. Mainling speed isn't done. But Solar already has the upgrade advantage. He's working on +2 melee. He's got +1 ranged attack, and he's going Hydras. So, make no mistake. This is Solar's advantage. Solar's position. It's his game to lose. Uh-oh. The Baneling speed finishes. 7 SCVs dead. Drop towards the main. Spore Crawler help zone out. And here we go again. Don't do it. Okay, he goes into Hellbat mode. Gonna take out the Spore Crawler. Uh-huh. Yeah. Well, that did not go well. The Queens chasing down some of the survivors. And GuMiho, well... On the bright side, I think it's very likely we're heading towards an ace match. On the downside, it's because GuMiho has flubbed not 1, but like 2 and arguably 3 Hellbat timing so far. Now, he still has a whole lot of M and M and M. And M. Marines, Marauders, Mines, and Medevacs. And with Widow Mines on the field, there's always an opportunity for that sort of money shot that brings him right back into the game. But Solar has 89 drones, 5 bases, Hive on the way, Lurker dead in production, ranged attack +1, melee attack +2. GuMiho just started his +2 infantry weapons. So he has a literal and figurative uphill battle, but he has about even army supply, and Solar can't get much more because of the aforementioned drone count. So we will see as he puts on the pressure to the north and the south. A few spines in position to help defend. Wow, beautiful micro against that Widow Mine. Gonna try to get some damage done up to the north side as well. The Hydra's, Lings, and Bane's already in position to deal with this. Mine taken out with ease. Solar, just comfortable. It's comfortable. All right, he's chilling. He's got a Snuggie on right now. Got some pizza rolls. Okay, gonna put on a winter cast on the TV and gonna be like Leonardo DiCaprio, like, hey, that's me right there. Hey, it's me. Yep. Hello, Solar. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe. Hydraling Bane. And Solar chasing more of the bio back across. Viper's on the way. Great target fire out of GuMiho, but the bio army is no match. Hydra Lunge. Adrenal Glands. A lot of bio here. Might be able to take down the hatchery. There's enough. I like how he's splitting off the forces. Banelings get a chunk. Wow, he's actually doing a great job here. GuMiho starting to turn things a little bit. This is a costly fight for Solar. GuMiho decides he wants the hatch. He may be able to finish it off. He does. The Medevacs, unfortunately, overstayed their welcome, and they weren't welcome at all. Some Marines in random locations pretending like that was the intent. GuMiho doing a great job putting pressure on, as we've seen throughout the series. There's still a lot of technological momentum to deal with, but it's starting to add up here. GuMiho target fires on the Hydras. Another huge group of Zerglings obliterated by the mines. But Solar still has the drone count. He can rebuild the hatcheries. GuMiho has taken a 4th base. He's working on 3-3. The Queen's trying to get the quickly receding creep. Hydra Lunge is all done. Lurker's on the way. Lurker range almost completed. Awkward. I guess I'll do the Parabomb. Chilling Claws mines in the main, though. That's going to be annoying. But not deadly. Another wave. The Lurkers will zone out this attack. And Lurkers... 4 more barracks on the way. GuMiho going to a dozen... Oh, he actually only had 7. 7 to 11. Give me a Slurpee while you're there. Going through the... just a wave of changelings. GuMiho targeting. Solar is so much. He's getting a Nidus network, adaptive talents, +3. Oh, Widow Mines with huge hits. But again, the Viper. GuMiho accepting the need for a Ghost Academy. And Solar he's biding his time so much that it's starting to run out. If Ghosts start hitting the field and GuMiho can get a 5th base, well, the bets must be reevaluated because they are certainly off. Hydra Lunge forward, huge chunk of bio over to the right flank, a few Lurkers in position to deal with it, and there's no way that half a dozen Lurkers are going to be challenged by 50 supply of bio. The Lings dart into the 3rd base. Now looking to cut off the reinforcing Hydralings and Banes. Now dragging over the top the Widow Mines. Friendly fire. And more Banelings closing in. GuMiho's supply plummets, getting the SCVs alongside this. And finally, Solar sweeps the leg. A Nidus in the main. 2 Gs in the chat. 2 games apiece, and we're going to game number 5. Solar strikes back. Well, another dramatic series between these two. Evenly matched. Solar able to shut down that early aggression. GuMiho falling prey to the allure of a hellbad timing. And with the results of almost every hellbad timing, unfortunately. But game 5. Amygdala. See how we feel after this one. This map will tell us, but GuMiho in the bottom left. Your blue Terran pieces. And in the top right, we got Solar. You guys can see that. Unless you're blind, of course. Shout out to my blind viewers. You kind of have to, but thank you again to Rex for putting on these madness tournaments. Make sure to check out that link in the description. After you like and subscribe, of course. So many good games for the fans. Let's hope GuMiho can kind of mentally turn it around. Honestly, the hellbad timings feel like a mental defeat, too. So many times right afterwards... Well, a lot of the time they end up being like game 5, but... just goes downhill. But he's shown, even after a rough start, GuMiho has shown that he can battle it out and almost turn it around. In both his losses so far. Solar the same in his. As the momentum just... It's very hard as Zerg to get back into it. Once you lose creep to your outlying bases, you no longer have the level of production. Because things like Banelings, even when you win, you lose a chunk of your army. And replacing it with limited production and economy is not easy to do. So, Solar pulling it together, or holding it together throughout these games, also equally, if not more so, impressive. Though I'm sure the comments will argue about that. So. Third base on the way, Solar. Not being stingy throughout this entire series. He's going to have Zergling speed. Let's see if we finally get our full mech game. GuMiho's been having plenty. Honestly, I don't know if he would have played Solar with mech. This is me being an apologist here, but Solar seems to be most vulnerable to that heavy pressure. Mech is usually more about a strong timing rather than like constant pressure. Usually, even with a battle mech composition, like GuMiho has pioneered, Cyclones and Hellions into like Thors and Liberator kind of thing, it's hard to keep the pressure on. Like you have these big timings where you're dangerous and then you kind of got to pull back and build up. Not a single, just a Marine first, really rushing out the starport here. Which is the intent of skipping the Reaper and going straight into reactored Hellions, as well as having the starport. Banshee cloak. Indeed. There's the Banshee. There's the cloak. Invisibility cloak, a strong option. Hellions poking and prodding. If this was a roach all-in or something along those lines, it might have been successful. As GuMiho had no real scout until these Hellions. Okay. Just runs by. The Hellions incinerating 2 drones thus far. Make that 3. Queen's coming back to defend. Oh, nah. Get off my queen! Brenda, oh my god. You think it's not justified? After all they've done? Not now. Too much today. Sorry, I blacked out for a moment. The Hellions. 4 drones, a couple. It wasn't it. It wasn't it. All right. Again, GuMiho will attempt to get damage done with the Hellions And Solar responds with an emphatic hell no. Spore Crawler's on the way. Cloaked Banshee darting right in. Gonna catch a transferring drone, but another Spore reseats itself. And, well, a Spore Crawler in the main. Gas Guy is nice and tucked in here. Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa! Wanders a little bit too close. And 2 more factories on the way. GuMiho taking us to McDonald's. But an inauspicious start to the mech composition. What flavor are we looking at? Double armory behind. Another Banshee. Just to be very careful. A strong gust of wind will take that thing out. Cloak is about to run out. A single knitting needle out of the Queens. He's keeping the pressure on. Solar only had 50 drones because, well, 1, building more extractors, 2, losing some to the Banshees. So the Banshees are doing what they need to do, which is keeping Solar busy. All right? He's keeping him busy. Wow. A couple more drone kills. Keeping him busy, keeping the economy limited during his most vulnerable time, which is as he builds up to the mech composition. It looks like it will be the Hell Clones. Mag Field Accelerator is on the way. That double lock-on damage for the Cyclones, as well as plenty of Hellions. He kind of gave away the Raven. He just wandered across the map with it, which is not exactly the ideal usage of a Raven, but Blue Flame is in production, and McDonald's is in full swing. The Industrial Revolution. Hellbats, no! I mean, it should work, and he's going back. It's not the same thing. Solar doesn't cancel. All right, he's fully... It's an odd move. It feels like he was staring directly at it. He should have been canceling, but... Zergling counterattack. Hellbats at home to defend will waddle up. Roach is on the way as Solar now realizing he's dealing with the full mech composition. The Queens being roasted. Solar? One of the Queens is taken out. The rest of the Hellbats will be taken down. Some of the SCVs stuck in the main. GuMiho struggling to get his 3rd base. Solar struggling to get his 4th. Also, Solar, just in case he wasn't clear, well, now he very much is, but the barracks floated over the Zerglings, so it's incredibly obvious that this is full mech if it wasn't before. So what's it gonna be? Hydra is dead on the way. +1 ranged attack and Carapace. GuMiho's going to have his mech upgrades more quickly. +1 mech weapons and plating are near about 2/3 complete. Roaches taking down the rocks, opening up the gold base down the center. 4 Cyclones at a time. Already a 4th command center on the way. Both sides going to be building up. A hive could be a significant... Ooh, awkward fight at the watchtower. A hive could be very helpful, but it looks like Solar wants to hit a 200 supply time. He's at exactly 66 drones. That's full 3-base saturation. And going to max out as quickly as possible. And one of the main weaknesses of mech is how brittle it is until you get that maxed out composition. It's going to be quite a while, especially considering GuMiho's building 3 more factories. He's going up to the Octofact. A 4th command center, or 5th command center, I'm not sure which one that is now. He's simply spending all of this on infrastructure. He's not spending on army. And he hasn't realized that Solar is so committed yet. So that is a lot of Zerg on the way across the map. The Banshees will take out a Hydra. They're starting to clear the creep. The Queens will come back to defend, but that means... What is there back at home? 10 Cyclones? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. That is a lot of Zerg. There's not a single siege tank. There are 2 of them in production right now, but the 3rd base will be lifted. GuMiho receding faster than my hairline right now, as the Cyclones are forced back to the natural. Without siege tanks, the tide of Zerg is rolling in. And Solar just nails this timing. GuMiho kind of went into autopilot, and it's going to crash him right into the Zerg army. The siege tanks may delay this attack. He runs one right in, panicking clearly. under the weight of this Zerg army. Corrosive out, not quite enough to take out the tanks, but 22 SCVs already dead. More roaches on the way. No detection for the Cloak Banshees finally showing up. Going to target down the Hydralisks, but the Banshees will eventually be taken out. The Cyclones try to kite back, but the Roaches and Ravagers. Once that siege tank on the high ground, Corrosive Bile. I don't think he got any on. Yes, he did. I take it back. 160 to 90 supply. More SCVs will have to be pulled. It doesn't matter. GG. Solar knocks out GuMiho yet again before he gets everything up and running. Makes it so the mech army never comes together. And GuMiho, despite an inspired set of games, just unable to keep up with Solar's momentum. Still a great back and forth series, in my incredibly humble and oh so modest opinion. And I hope you agree, though. I hope it made your day a little bit better. Thank you again to Rex for putting on his tournaments. Make sure to check it out. And if you got the means and motivation, it'd be awesome to check out Patreon or YouTube membership. But I hear liking and subscribing is still free. Yeah, at least for now. So, thank you for watching. See you next time. Good luck. Have fun. Stay chill.